Hello and welcome. I'm Ijoma Onyato. Tonight, mixed reactions greet President Buhari's refusal to sign the Electoral Act Amendment Bill at the National Assembly as lawmakers object to stoppage of their reactions on the floor. President Muhammadu Buhari and other presidential candidates sign a peace accord to guide the conduct of the candidates for the 2019 general elections. Nigeria Elections Debate Group and the Broadcasting Organizations of Nigeria released names of participating parties in the presidential debates. And UK Prime Minister Theresa May meets with UK leaders over Brexit after facing stiff opposition in Parliament.
And on business news tonight, Moody's Ratings forecasts 1.9% growth for Nigeria's economy this year, recommends increase in country's non-oil revenue base.
And in sports news tonight, it's decision day in the UEFA Champions League as top European teams battle for survivals in final group games.
And from Abuja, Senate steps down confirmation of nominees for anti-graft bodies AFCC and ICPC following objections about composition.
We begin tonight with a controversy trailing President Muhammadu Buhari's refusal to assent to the Electoral Act Amendment Bill passed by the National Assembly. Some federal lawmakers today expressed displeasure when the president's letter was read in both chambers today, prompting insinuations from some of the lawmakers that an override could be effected. However, President Buhari's decision received the support of some of the lawmakers, raising questions as to whether the dissatisfied lawmakers have the numbers. Our correspondent Terry Kumi reports.
Presidential decision to decline assent to the Electoral Amendment Bill 2018.
The Senate President reads a communication from President Muhammadu Buhari, which had been in the public space days before now, indicating refusal to assent to the Electoral Act Amendment Bill transmitted to him by the National Assembly.
Declining assent to the bill principally.
In the Green Chamber, the Speaker of the House of Representatives reads the same letter, but the reaction is not the same as that of the Senate.
Refusing to assent to the Electoral Act shows clearly what is the intent of himself and his party on this issue. The whole world is watching. We have never, by precedents and customs and traditions, we have never debated a letter which is by way of information only.
The Speaker aligns with the position of the Leader of the House, as some lawmakers grumble.
There is a provision in our rules that guides this kind of communications, and I will advise that we follow the provisions of the rules. Can we have one house, please? One house.
Outside the chamber, some lawmakers gave their reactions to the president's decision.
The reason he adduced, to me, seems very logical. It gives a warning to all of us that bills like this should be passed way ahead of time.
While some are calling on the president to rescind his decision, others believe they may have to explore other available options before them.
My point is unambiguous, and that is the president should sign, and if he refuses to sign, the Senate and the National Assembly should take the next legal, civil and constitutional instrument that will make it a reality.
We urge my colleagues to cooperate together, not minding any party affiliation. So let us override this decision this time around.
It's not about subordinates. I don't want grandstanding. We better not have the numbers. And I don't want anything that come and divide us as legislative house.
When the letter was read on the floor of the chamber, the lawmakers were quite displeased with the president's decision to decline assent to the bill. The coming days will determine whether or not the lawmakers will take action to override the president's decision, regardless of the question of numbers. Terry Kumi, Channels Television News.
Now, President Muhammadu Buhari today joined other presidential candidates to sign a peace deal that seeks to guide the conduct of the flag bearers and their supporters before, during and after the 2019 elections. However, the presidential candidates of the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar, and that of the Allied Congress Party of Nigeria, Dr. Obi Ezekwesili, are among those who were absent. At the event organized by the National Peace Committee, President Buhari said Nigerians expect the highest standard of conduct from all stakeholders. Our State House correspondent, Ibrahim Adra, reports.
President Buhari, like candidates of other political parties, here signs the Abuja Peace Accord 2018. Conspicuously absent, however, is the candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar. Like the one the president signed in 2015, this is also organized by the National Peace Committee. The purpose of the accord is to, among others, ensure elections devoid of hate speeches, incitement and violence. The committee's chairman emphasizes the main thrust of the Peace Pact.
By agreeing to sign this covenant for peace, all of you are committing yourselves to ensuring and enduring peace in Nigeria before, during, and after the elections.
While General Abubakar is worried by what he says is inciting comments in places of worship, insisting that misinformation must be controlled and curtailed, former head of state Yakubu Gowon warns against buying and suppression of votes.
By signing today's peace accord, you have agreed to be bound by both the conduct and outcome of the results of the elections, because Nigeria today and tomorrow is far more important than our individual or party ambitions.
Here are some of the demands of the peace accord.
Number one, to run issue-based campaigns at the national, state, and local government levels. In this, we pledge to refrain from campaigns that would involve religious incitement, ethnic or tribal profiling, both by ourselves and by all agents acting in our names.
The president aligns himself with the objectives of the peace accord, with a charge to the electoral umpire and security agencies to play by the rules.
We, the candidates, pledge to uphold the highest standards of conduct and encourage our team and supporters to do the same. I wish to call on the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, and all arms of security agencies to put the nation first in their conduct.
The absence of candidates of some of the political parties at this event will provide talking heads in days to come. The key question that needs to be answered is, are they bound by the Abuja 2018 Accord, which they did not sign? And if not, what is the implication?
Well, despite the absence of its flag bearer at the signing of the peace accord, the People's Democratic Party insists it's committed to peaceful elections in 2019. The party attributes its non-representation at the signing pact in Abuja to a communication lapse between the National Peace Committee and the party's National Secretariat. In a statement, the PDP spokesman, Mr. Kola Olagbodiyan, explained that the party is investigating the circumstances responsible for the communication lapse. Mr. Olagbodiyan adds that the PDP will visit the office of the National Peace Committee, look into the documents, and fulfill all necessary obligations ahead of the 2019 general elections. Now let's get another perspective on all this. I'm now being joined on the News at 10 by a senior political science lecturer at the University of Lagos, Dr. Kayode Ishola. Thanks a lot for joining us on the News at 10.
Thank you very much.
And I guess for those of you in politics, it's deja vu. Remember 2015 when, the party that's now in power were in the opposition. So is this becoming a trend now, peace accord before the elections?
Well, for us in Nigeria, because of our experience in politics, right from the First Republic to 2011 to 2015, such a step is absolutely in the right direction. Having said that, there are two fundamental errors that you can trace to what just happened today. The first one is that, why are we running under the assumption that it is the presidential candidates who foment trouble and create violence? I don't know where that logic is coming from. What about violence that is created by other people or that may be inflicted by the security agents? Were they there, as the case may be? That's the first question. The second one is that these people are public officials. By virtue of coming out to contest for election, they're now public people. Do you need to send invitation to them privately to be able to allow somebody to say, I got it, I didn't get it? All you needed to do was put them on the newspaper. The public is aware that they are all invited. So you cancel the possibility of somebody coming up that I didn't say it or that I did say it. These are the fundamental issues that I see as errors in what happened today. But beyond that, in theory, it is important that we sign such document because of our experience as a nation.
Yeah, because in theory, I mean, you cannot, security agencies don't have one particular face. And I think the idea is that, the candidate will be able to speak to their supporters or, those who are behind them to say, you know what, we've signed this and be peaceful. So, I mean, can you really say...
It's not as simple as that. There are two parties, if not three, to any violence that you have during, after, or before election. One is the man who is capable of influencing violence. That man who will say, go and do this, and that will be done. Two, the actors of violence themselves are very critical in the process. Are we getting to them? Are we passing this message to them? Are we involving them in this process of peacemaking? To the extent that the children of lecturers, of ministers, of governors and commissioners are not the ones who carry guns and cutlass to kill people during, after and during election. They are the children of the wretched of the earth. They are the children of those whose salaries are still 18,000 naira per month. They are the children of those who are considered nobody in their own country because of what the state has inflicted on them. I think if we are serious towards ensuring that there is no violence in election anymore, not only do we address those who are capable of influencing violence, but the agents, the actors of violence themselves must be addressed. If we don't do that, we'll continue to do perambulation.
Okay, well,
and it won't go
let's look at the peace accord in theory, in principle, as you spoke about the other time. Is it even binding? Who monitors it? And if people go to the election petitions tribunal, for instance, is that breaking the peace pact, or is it just violence? If you don't accept.
That brings me to the third thing I was going to say as a prelude to this question. Apart from those who actively participate in the violence, the third question is, why do people get into violence during election? It is the body language of the ruling class. It is the attempt by one party or the other to manipulate the processes of the election, and again, in addition, the mismanagement of people's movement by the security agent. All these three must be taken into consideration when we are talking about, because as you have insinuated or suggested in this last question, the agreement doesn't have any legal force. It is just a moral persuasion. Nobody is going to be taken to court by that agreement. That is why I'm saying we must dig deeper into the fundamental issues of causes, of actors, and reasons behind violence. If we don't do that, I think we're just doing public ceremony.
And as one who gauges, the political temperature, this is something you do. Looking at the political climate right now, even in the build-up to February, do you think it would be easy, for any of the candidates to say, you know what, peace first, and that's it? The way you're seeing it going right now.
The way I see it as a person, from comment, from newspapers and all this stuff, from all actors, there's a very high level of tension. I have not heard somebody say, this has to be soft. Almost everybody is saying, this is a hard game, and we're all going to give it whatever it takes, as if it is a do or die affair. That brings up the tension. I only wish Nigerians best so that we'll be able to handle it in a much better way.
But Senior Political Science Lecturer at the University of Lagos, Dr. Eshola, thanks for sharing your thoughts on the News at 10 tonight.
Thank you very much.
And in part two, after the break, media and information stakeholders seek to curb hate speech and fake news during the 2019 polls. NBC asked media organizations to be professional in their reportage. That's in a moment. Please stay with us.